You're listening to No Sucks Saturday on the AM Update.
Back again for another edition of No Sucks Saturday. I'm Aaron, joined as always by my lovely and beautiful wife, Bella, for another edition of No Sucks Saturday. Did I just say that already? I don't think I did.
No.
We have 5 stories we think objectively do not suck. We'll continue our study through the book that is named Mere Christianity. I left my copy in college, apparently. It's not right in front of me. I'm going to have to go run and get that during one of your stories. Actually, we can share your copy.
Yeah, I brought my copy.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much. Yeah,
That's wonderful.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much. Yes, and in case you were expecting Ask Izzy, totally my fault. I totally forgot. That's supposed to be the first Saturday of every...
So did I. It's because
every month.
We weren't...
Labor Day always screws things up.
Right, yeah. We didn't have an episode last week, and so, yeah, my mind was not in the right place. So,
we'll have
next week.
Yes, we'll have it next week. No Sucks Saturday, an Ask Izzy edition. But first, we have 5 stories we think that objectively do not suck. Now, this story I saw the other day, I sent it to you. This is from Florida, where a 5-year-old boy decided to be very, very independent. Listen to this.
We arrived on scene. Hello. And as we walked in, we see a little kid sitting at the table eating his breakfast with one of the managers. Hey, buddy.
Oh, look at that.
We asked where he came from, and he kept saying he walked to Chick-fil-A.
You know where your house is, right, honey?
It's right across the street, right over there.
Okay, cool.
I have children, and the first thing you get that knot in your stomach because somebody else who's a parent is missing their child.
Are you gonna show us where you live?
Yeah.
Okay. We gathered him up. Look at that. Say thank you.
Here's your cow for you.
I walked him to the back of my patrol car.
Are you going to get me in jail?
No, I'm not going to put you in jail. And we started checking the area. All right, buddy, where's your house at?
We were wondering, where did this child come from?
Is it right here?
None of these doors are open. None of these garages are open.
I don't live in a duck pond.
So then he explained that he had a white fence.
That's where it is.
Right here?
Yeah.
And that's when we pulled up in the driveway. And then we realized that the call box wasn't working. We had no way to get through the gate. How about this?
My initial thoughts were, I can't believe he came out of here. It's the most secure house on that block in reference to having a fence all the way around, front, back, sides.
Please.
I'm Phil.
And Victoria.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, do you have a son named William?
William.
Yeah, a little boy?
Yeah.
Our 5-year-old William had an adventure a few weeks ago, and we live nearby very close.
Yeah, he was down at the Chick-fil-A.
Are you kidding me?
No, we have him in our police car. You want to come get him?
You could just see the look on his face. It would be for any parent, including myself. It's disbelief.
It's kind of scary, actually, because we didn't realize what was going on until after we came out.
Do you have any idea how he got out?
Yeah, he just got unlocked the front door, but he's never done that.
I was worried about him because was he scared? Was he crying? Was he upset?
Come on, little man.
He was quiet, which is unusual for him.
Did you get scared? Why did you go to Chick-fil-A?
You're welcome.
I think it did shake him up some, so I don't think we really needed to, impress too much that you shouldn't do it again, things like that. I think he understood that it was serious, but we did talk about it.
He said he opened the gate and couldn't find y'all and went down the street.
I know he knows how to get to Chick-fil-A because we walked there. I would have never expected him to come down here on his own in the morning before anybody else in the house was up.
Good morning. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
Sir, good to see you again.
How are you, sir? How are you, young lady?
We're good.
Hey, what's up, buddy? Hey, dude. You remember us?
Hi.
Oh, are these for me? Well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Oh, man. I can't wait. Thank
These are
you.
So there is that little boy and his family meeting up with the Jacksonville, Florida police officers at that same Chick-fil-A. The first time I watched that, my stomach just dropped throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
The second time, it is kind of funny, and it is very uplifting the way that Jacksonville police put it together in that video. Very well done by that department, by the way. So
Yeah.
I thought that was some good news. I probably would have been a little bit apoplectic for a little bit, knowing that
my gosh.
a 5-year-old walked by himself on a road
Yep.
to
all the way to
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. Well, it's like the officers pointed out to when you look in the video. It is the most secure house. I mean, this kid wanted to get out.
Yes.
It's not like they just,
let him go.
Right. Like they had the defenses in place. He's just a smart kid.
Yeah. All right. What's your first story?
All right. So my first story, really, I read this actually a couple weeks ago. And I just loved it so much. So for those of you who don't know this about me, I'm a huge reader. I always have been. I blame it on the fact that I read well above grade level in elementary school, and that's just become my entire personality ever since.
Smart girl.
No, thanks. Math, not so much, but I could read good. But I read this story about an Ohio man who made a list of the 3,599 books that he read during his lifetime, and his list is inspiring another generation of readers at his local library. So after his death in July, Dan Pelzer's adult kids discovered a very long list in his house of every book he had ever read. The list dates all the way back to 1962 and tracked nearly 6 decades of books he read. As a CBS News article said, he learned about everything, from saints to sinners and prayer to pray. The list is 109 pages long, single-spaced. His children enjoyed looking through the list because it was kind of a microcosm of his life, and he checked out most of these books from his local Columbus Metropolitan Library.
Wow.
And when the librarians caught wind of the list, they decided to share it on their social media pages, making sure, of course, that they had every title available on the list. And they've been shocked at the response from patrons who have been coming to check out the books, so much so that they ended up making a display of some of the titles.
Yeah. I was going to say they should frame that entire list.
Yeah.
All 100 and some pages of it.
Exactly. But as the article noted, Dan wasn't an academic. He was just a humble social worker and father from Ohio who is now one of the country's most popular bibliophiles.
Bibliophiles.
I like that word.
A nice pull of that word. That's an incredible story.
Yeah,
At first,
cool.
I was going to call fake news because I didn't think maybe 3,000 some books had ever been written in the history of humanity. But now that I'm thinking about it, it kind of does make sense.
I love the look on your face. It's like, I promise the story is real. And it's really cool because, I mean, I use Goodreads to track my books, but I love the just the analog, just a typed out list of every book he'd ever read.
Yeah, I mean, at the pace that you're on in a typical year, you could get to 3,000 books easily by the time the kids are out of the house.
Yeah, there's a good chance. I usually average somewhere between 80 to 100 books a year.
Yeah, I just did the quick math on the calculator.
Crazy.
Very cool story. Thank you for that, Bella. We move on. It is football season, but before the Chick-fil-A kickoff game in Atlanta between...
Wow, all your stories are Chick-fil-A.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah, I didn't need to read the sponsorship, but the Chick-fil-A kickoff series, the couple of games they play at the beginning of the season, both in Atlanta, I believe, or at least one is in Atlanta, between Syracuse and Tennessee. Famed SEC quarterback and well-known Christian Tim Tebow addressed the crowd and gave a kind of a masterclass on how to share the gospel in under 1 minute.
Good and gracious Heavenly Father, we love you today because you first loved us. We love you because while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. And we thank you today that you sent Jesus on the greatest love story rescue mission of all time to do for us what we could not do for ourselves, to go to the cross and defeat sin and death and do it for us on our behalf. And we thank you for that. We cannot earn it, we do not deserve it, but today we say thank you. Thank you for your love, thank you for your grace. And if anybody doesn't know you, we pray that today they would say yes to you because you said yes to them on the cross. We love you because you first loved us and we are beyond grateful. Thank you, Jesus. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Absolutely love that guy.
Yeah.
That was a heartfelt prayer, obviously, but in a way that teaches the gospel at the same time. Well done, Tim Tebow, as always.
Yeah, that was really good. Gosh, look at this. You're got a nice story about sharing the gospel, and my next one is just about a man who had a really bad day.
Oh.
I saw this story a couple weeks ago, but a 40-year-old man was recently rescued by local firefighters after getting stuck in a playground slide in Connecticut. So it's happened.
In a playground slide?
Yes.
Not a 4-year-old, a 40-year-old.
4D. Yeah, a man.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Happened on a hot August day. Rescuers were called to the scene after a 40-year-old man was wedged in the slide. This poor guy was stuck in the middle portion of the slide. So it's one of those like curvy, windy slides. EMS administered oxygen to the man who was in extreme discomfort and obviously very hot. Firefighters had to remove a portion of the slide to reach the man. He was freed after 30 minutes. He declined treatment at a local ER, and the man mercifully has not been identified. I wouldn't want to be either. But good action by the firefighters, getting him out, keeping him safe. Just be careful when you're at the playground, and maybe don't go down the enclosed slides unless you're confident you're going to get out.
You can fit through.
Yeah.
Should not have to be said about anybody, but I will reserve judgment.
Hey, we've all done silly things to entertain our kids.
Indeed. Well, my final story is this. I think I posted about this on social media, this poor girl on social media before, and I think I've told you about her. But her name is Ava Jones, and a few years ago, she was a top 100 women's basketball recruit in the country. She was number 86. She committed to my University of Iowa Hawkeyes, I think her junior or senior season in high school. Well, during that summer of 2022, I believe it was, she and her family were in Louisville, Kentucky, attending an AAU basketball tournament when a drunk driver took them out, killed her father, seriously injured her and her mother. She had a long road to recovery. The Iowa women's basketball program honored her scholarship. She was a part of the team, but her injuries just set her back so much and injured her so much she just could not play basketball ever again. And she made that announcement, I believe it was late last year. Well, shortly after she made the announcement that she was retiring from basketball, she also got the terrible news that she was diagnosed with cancer as well.
Oh my gosh.
And I think actually I got this wrong. This was about a year and a half ago that she was diagnosed with cancer after announcing she was retiring from basketball.
Oh my.
So this is No Suck Saturday.
Yeah, I'm going to say, please uplift us.
She just announced this week, after 900 days, she is in remission.
Oh, wow.
So she is on her road to being cancer-free, but just an incredibly burdensome road that God has given this young woman for some reason we don't understand.
Yeah.
But she is on the road to healing now. So Ava Jones, a lot of prayers I know went out for her. She is on the road to healing now.
That's awesome.
Well, when we come back, it'll be another round of our book study in Mere Christianity. That's coming up next.
This is No Suck Saturday. We'll be right back.
On the topic of the concept of loving the sinner but hating the sin, this is what C.S. Lewis has to say in chapter 7 of book 3 of Mere Christianity. Quote, "For a long time, I used to think that this is a silly, straw-splitting distinction. How could you hate what a man did and not hate the man? But years later, it occurred to me that there was one man to whom I had been doing this my entire life, namely, myself." That is an excerpt, as I said, from C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity. This title is called Forgiveness, chapter 7 of book 3. And that's what we're talking about this week on our book study of Mere Christianity on No Suck Saturday. So let's begin here, Bella. I want to ask you this question. How is the idea of loving one's self the key to Lewis's explanation of forgiveness?
Well, his big point is that loving your neighbor doesn't mean that you feel fond of him. It's that, because we often loathe ourselves too. It's we want to, just as we should want the best for ourselves, we should want the best for other people. We are praying for them to have things turn out better, to make better choices, to have their life align with Christ. We are, in the same way that we are looking out for our self-interest, we should apply that to other people, that we want them to do just as well. And yeah, it really just goes back to hating the sin, not the sinner. And that's kind of his big point, is we hate the sin, we hate what they're doing, but we don't hate them.
Well said. Next question is this. Why might the Christian concept of forgiveness be even more unpopular than the Christian beliefs on sex and marriage? Well, C.S. Lewis addresses this right off the bat. Just as when Christianity tells me that I must not deny my religion even to save myself from death and torture, I wonder very much what I should do when it came to that point. I'm not trying to tell you this in this book what I could do. I can do precious little. I'm telling you what Christianity is. I did not invent it. And there in the middle of it, I find, forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. There is no slightest suggestion that we are offered forgiveness on any other terms. It's made perfectly clear that if we do not forgive, we shall not be forgiven. There are no two ways about it. So what are we to do? He says, it's going to be hard enough anyway, but I think there are two things we can do to make it easier. When you start mathematics, you don't begin with the calculus. You begin with the simple addition. In the same way, if we really want to learn how to forgive, perhaps it's better to start with those around us, like our wives or children or others in close proximity. So he gets to this in an earlier paragraph, that the reason why forgiveness might be more difficult to accept for an unbeliever, the Christian concept of forgiveness might be more difficult to accept to the unbeliever, is because this is something that we have to do with everyone. Everyone. Because we're all fallen and we're all human beings. When it comes to sex and marriage, which are the preceding two chapters, yes, that is a struggle for a lot of people, but it's not something, at least not in C.S. Lewis's times.
Right.
It's not something that you're always surrounded with. You can, right now, not be engaged in lustful thought or activity that goes beyond the scope of what God outlines is okay and fits into his framework. However, I liked his example there. If you want to learn truly how to forgive, just think about those closest to you.
Yeah.
And when I did that, you know what? Oh, there's that person. Yeah, I felt wrong by that. Blah 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 blah. Because we're very self-centered people.
Yep.
And when it comes to the dichotomy, I want to touch on something as well. The dichotomy of that he pointed out, the straw splitting that he thought that this phrase was of loving the sinner but hating the sin. I like John MacArthur's exegesis, and I think C.S. Lewis says it in kind of a different way. And that's the excerpt that I read at the very beginning, where it's like, how could you do that? And then he realized, wait a minute, I've been doing that my entire life with me. I love myself.
Right.
I don't want to give myself the penalty for what I actually deserve. It's that type of love.
Yeah.
It's not the feeling good about oneself. We're not talking about self-esteem here.
No.
God has created us with a certain type of self-love. We act and we behave in our own best interests most of the time. That's the type of love that we're talking about, to put ourselves in somebody else's shoes. Not empathy, but understanding that they are fallen human beings as well.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point. And I liked kind of going off of this question of why forgiveness is sometimes more unpopular than the beliefs about sex and marriage. It's kind of like you touched on, like it's starting with the small things, but it's also saying we have to forgive everything. And that means you have to forgive atrocities. You have to forgive terrible things that have happened. And that's a big sticking point that you'll hear from unbelievers is, you mean I'm supposed to forgive Hitler? It's like, yeah, that's the point. Yeah.
I do like in this chapter as well, just because you can forgive somebody doesn't spare that somebody from the punishment from the accountability that they deserve.
Exactly.
And this has been a debate kind of online this year about, do we really have to forgive immediately just everybody? And I think in some circumstances, some people have made pretty good cases that if they are asking for forgiveness, absolutely, you must. In the case of sometimes when they are completely unrepentant and things like that, that's a little bit harder nut to crack. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. That's our conversation for today. When we come back, we'll have our question of the week as well as our highlight of the week. That's next. Back for one final segment on No Suck Saturday. I'm Aaron, she's Bella. It's time for our highlight of the week. I will begin. So it's not so much a highlight. It kind of is a highlight. It's a good thing. Ben, this is his first week with preschool, and he did great.
Yeah.
From what I've heard. No tears or anything like that. And part of you is like, well, I wish you'd miss us a little bit more. But then part of you is like, nah, that's actually pretty healthy.
Yeah.
That's healthy for a now 4-year-old to be willing to be away from mom and dad for a while. However, probably my favorite story that emerged from this week. Do you know where I'm going with this?
I think so.
Yeah. My favorite story that emerged from this week. And I don't know what the truth is or if the story even happened, to be honest.
No one does.
So you were regaling me, and I were trying to get more information out of him at supper after his first day of school.
Yep.
But Ben talked about how a little boy in his class started trying to play with the teacher's walkie-talkie, and the teacher told him, no, that's not a toy. And you asked him, hey, Ben, do you know the name of the boy? And he said no. He said, do you remember, this detail? Do you remember, was it a little boy or a little girl? A little boy. Do you remember what his name was? No. He said, do you remember what kind of shirt he was wearing? Yes. What color shirt was he wearing? Blue. And Ben was wearing a blue shirt that day. So we're not sure if Ben was the one who played with the walkie-talkie or he was just near the boy who was playing with the walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
But that was funny. So that was kind of my highlight of the week.
Actually, when I picked him up on Thursday, I didn't ask him. He just volunteered and just said, today, no little kids play with the walkie-talkie. I said, okay, that's good. I'm happy for you.
That really stood out to him. So I'm kind of wondering what happened there. So
am I.
Yes. All right. What's your highlight of the week?
Gosh. The highlight for me was the long weekend. It was really nice having you around, getting to do things around the house. We have a freshly painted front door. We have a painted wall. Just got some nice cleaning done. You did a really, really good job with the painting.
Oh, thank you.
Did a lovely job. And then one of the days I got to go down and see one of my friends who lives out of state, and she came back for a baby shower, and it was fun to get to see her. And one of my other friends, I met them in college. We were in the same sorority. So it's just very fun to get to see them. They're both pregnant right now. One's expecting her second. And it's just, it was just nice to connect with them. I got to enjoy a nice long drive by myself. I listened to Matthew Perry's autobiography.
Oh, yeah.
Which is very, very good. Very sad, especially knowing
what happened,
how things ended for him. But yeah, it was just a really nice weekend. Lots of outdoor time, lots of playtime, and getting to see people, and always nice to have you around.
Oh, thank you for saying that out loud with a straight face.
I mean it. You can stick around as much as you want.
Yeah, it was kind of a perfect weekend because we weren't confined to being inside the whole time. But if we wanted to be inside, we were perfectly busy with little projects and football. That was fun as well. So good weekend. All right, so this is the time in the program where we come to our question of the week. This is always just a fun segment on the show where Bella comes prepared with a different question every single week for us to discuss on No Suck Saturday. And it's how we wrap up the show each and every week. It could be a question about favorite childhood memories, or a question about favorite movies, or a question about toys. It could be any question whatsoever, but usually Bella is ready to go with the question.
Wow, that was a really nice setup.
Now, I was just trying to give you time. Make sure we have
I appreciate that. Thank you. No, that was good. All right. The question of the week is, what is a podcast or video or whatever that you've watched or listened to recently that has impacted you or just kind of sticks out?
I have listened to, Haunted Cosmos, I've listened to them and Darknet Diaries. You can listen to their podcasts multiple times because there's so much information and they're so well done.
Yeah.
That you miss things the first time, or you can kind of think through things. The Haunted Cosmos episode on MK Ultra is very haunting, especially the cold open that producer Ben does for it. Ben Garrett does for it. So that's one. It's not. I wouldn't say it's impacted me, but it was pretty creepy because I listen to podcasts late at night.
Yes.
As I go to bed.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night, and we're talking about we went to a hotel room, and then you heard glass shattering, and the bellman saw a body fall. Stuff like that.
No, I don't think I could do that.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoy that because I used to listen to true crime podcasts before bed and
can't do it.
I can't. My nervous system said no, but I'm glad you enjoy.
Yeah, there is one podcast that I used to listen to. I just thought it was like a knockoff Coast to Coast AM, and I don't think I'm going to even try to listen to Coast AM anymore. Sometimes they'd put podcast segments up there, but it is Whitley Strieber's Dreamland. Have I told you I'm not listening to this anymore?
No.
Yeah, I didn't realize this about Whitley Strieber, but he's an author.
Okay.
And I guess he's the first legit individual, legit in air quotes, to claim to have experienced contact with other beings.
Oh, no.
And I guess that's actually, now the program feels a lot like Coast to Coast AM.
Right.
But now that I kind of know what he's about, I think a lot of people who claim now to have been communicating with these other interdimensional beings are just talking to demons, and I don't want anything to do with that.
No, especially not while you're sleeping.
No.
I feel like that's opening up some bad doors.
Yes. So no more. And it's been a while since I've listened to an episode of that anyway. What about you?
So there's a podcast I enjoy. I don't listen to every single episode, but occasionally he has on good guests. It's Diary of a CEO.
Yeah.
And he recently had on Dr. Daniel Amen, who I really like.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yep, I've read a couple of his books. He's also known for he does the brain scans for celebrities.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's kind of his thing. He did Justin Bieber's brain. But anyways, he's
scary.
No, probably. But yeah, he's a legit psychiatrist. Very, very good. But it was him and then this guy, Dr. Terry, I don't remember his last name, but he's a neuroscientist. And he was involved in the neural network, or developing the neural network that laid the foundation for modern AI.
Oh, cool.
And so that was the point of the podcast. Is they were talking about how to use AI safely. And it was very interesting looking at it from a brain health perspective. So the main takeaway, which is basically if you're asking AI to do all your writing, all your research, putting all that stuff together, you're going to lose function in your brain. Because your brain is just like any muscle, it's a use it or lose it kind of situation.
Yep.
And so what they were saying is what they're worried about is that if people are relying on AI to do all of that stuff, they're going to eventually lose the ability to write, to reason, to use critical thinking. And, it may not be a problem for our generation, but a couple generations down the line, it may come to a point where no one knows how to write anymore and how to reason.
What about people who use AI to write and then they edit what AI did so that it's completely different?
Yes. So that was their point. That was their other takeaways. That's the way to safely use it is you still need to write the first draft and then you need to tell AI what you're looking for. And they also recommended constantly challenging AI. Yeah. So if you don't like something that it's written, tell it what you don't like because it's making you think through what you don't like. Yeah. But yeah.
Because I have used AI to mostly for search engine optimization. That's something that I found that it's really good at.
Yeah.
That's really important. But I think ironically, actually, AI could, in terms of coders, this is actually an air analysis a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
So they're worried about coders losing jobs to AI. And I do think that is a legitimate concern. However, I believe that coders won't necessarily have everything to worry about long term. Because AI, I think the models are going to get advanced enough to where the prompts to write code are they themselves going to have to be so complicated that coders will have to be better at actually English, describing what they're looking for, and being able to prompt AI in the right direction. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as AI gets more advanced, yes, it's going to be more efficient for writing code, but as the code gets more efficient and intricate and advanced, so too will the prompts that are needed to actually bring that to pass.
Okay. Yeah.
That's kind of my idea anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they kind of did touch on that a little bit in the podcast is, I mean, really what you're getting out of it. What you're going to get out of AI depends dramatically on what you're putting into it.
Yeah.
And they were, I feel like they had a very balanced response. It wasn't like you should never use ChatGPT. It's just like, do the writing, do the research yourself, and then have, whatever you're using, clean up your text a little bit, maybe make it a little less redundant, whatever it is. But, just not relying on it to, write a book for you.
Yeah. Last weekend, I'm already, at one point I had started using Grok on X, almost as my new search engine. And already I'm starting to see things that are like,
Yeah.
I don't think I trust this too much. Great example last weekend.
Yeah.
I wanted to look up. I think I told you I was arguing with Grok.
Oh, yeah. You never told me what, though.
I wanted to look up how long has it been since the Minnesota Golden Gophers have started playing their season opening game on Thursday night, on that opening Thursday night.
Yeah.
And Grok told me, this is the first year, 2025. And I went back for 5 years and I said, no, in 2024, they played on this date against this team. And Grok was like, oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah. But the rest of the list that I sent you is good. I said, no, on 2023, they played on this date against this opponent. And Grok was like, oh, yeah, that's right. But the rest of what I sent is good. And I said, Grok, you realize you've already gotten 3 things wrong here.
Yeah.
Don't you want to look a little bit harder at the rest of your list? And Grok was like, you know what? That's a good point. After review, the rest of the list is fine.
Oh, my gosh.
I said, no, 2022, they played on this date against this team.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So that's something that should be pretty easy to scrape.
Exactly.
And it was really struggling. It was just a random query.
Yeah.
As I was sitting there watching football. But it was wrong, and it was insistent on it being wrong.
Fascinating.
Are we done?
I think so. I'm sure everyone is probably bored now and listen to 2 homeschoolers debate AI.
Yeah, we went for half an hour. We didn't mean to do that.
So sorry, everybody.
Yeah, that's going to do it for Saturday. Sorry to end on a note of suck that we went that long. Sorry about that. Have a great weekend. Back tomorrow for Week in Review, and then on Monday for regular order AM updates.
Thanks for listening to No Suck Saturday.